by a very special guest. We have Ace with us here on Ramen Toys products. Ace, how you doing?
Hey, Ash, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries at
No
all.
problem. Thanks for coming on board. So, Ace, for anyone that hasn't heard about you and your company, what is it that you guys do? What is Ramen Toy?
Well, thanks, Jacob, once again for having me on the show. So ourselves, and that's basically properties from the 80s nostalgia. Obviously, I am a child of the 80s, currently on 46 years of age. So back in the day, the cartoons, the toys that I was, I guess I was relating to, and then I find that they are not really being represented in this day and age. So I thought to myself and my partners that hey, let's do something. There's lots of third-party transformers that's already in the market. So maybe we can go that route. We can just go do something that's third-party, because obviously to get a proper license, there's lots of steps involved. It's not as simple as just going out and getting a license. We're a small outfit, just a few guys. So yeah, we started in 2021, and we basically put our heads together, found some creative designers to come up with the 80s Commanders, our very first project that we put on Facebook. Basically without much of any hope, just putting something out there, have some prototypes done, promote it as best as we could, and then the rest is history, because everybody seems like there's a good group of people who like what we're doing, and then they bought into the concept of the 80s Commanders. That allowed us to make our first production. We delivered on that, and we subsequently went on to do the other stuff that you see on our archives.
Brilliant stuff. No, there's some really good stuff. I mean, again, as a child of the 80s myself, there's some of the figures that you're putting out. Like I've quite often talked about the Centurions cartoon. That was a big favorite of mine, mainly because one of them was called Jake. So as a kid, I was kind of, well, that's me. But there hasn't been a good modern equivalent toy released. The best you can get are those retro toys from back in the 80s. So seeing what you guys have put out there, I mean, you've got quite a few. I think it's about 4 or 5 that you've got out, four or five different characters now.
Yeah.
And they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I personally first came across you with the racer, the Ramen Racer that was released. Right. There's a lot of talk about that on the internet because recently, without sort of saying any names, there was another toy company that attempted to make one, and it didn't go as planned. And there was quite a few disappointed people out there. And then, just like a phoenix from the flames, this Ramen Racer appeared, and everybody was talking about it. And I think one of the biggest selling points was the price point, that what you were able to provide for the money that you were able to, for the money that you're asking for people. Am I right in believing that they are essentially crowdfunded, that you need a certain amount of people to buy into them to put into production, or do you just produce something and then look for the customers afterwards?
Well, basically the whole idea behind the Ramen Racer was because I felt that in that particular point in time, I was involved very much in the toy community in terms of going to various channels to check out all you guys, including yours, right? So I was looking at people's comments on the project, and then I felt that there was lots of people who actually wanted this thing to actually be delivered. Only method is that the price point was a bit of a concern, but obviously in the end the campaign was not funded. And then I saw that there was like 5,000 people who actually backed the project. So I was thinking to myself, could I actually harness 1,000 plus of those people, of the 5,000, and that'll be enough for us, because we are not um, aiming for big MOQs, right? As long as we get the minimum quantity done, which is about 1,000 plus 2,000, will be good. So I was actually looking and banking on the fact that if there's 5,000 people that were interested in this, I just need 2,000, right? Because seriously, 1,000 just doesn't really do it for us. It's just like break even. So 2,000 was the goal. and we set out to do this. We moved very quickly from the 3D model to the actual prototype. We even changed it up along the way, in a sense that we did something just to mimic what the people want, and then along the way there was like considerations for, okay, if you don't actually want this thing with the flames, you just want it for the car, then what can we do? So we actually introduce, modular components so that you can actually get the interchange pack and change your ramen racer into something else. If you want to get the exact thing that failed, then you can actually go and get the infernal pack, and then it has the flame effects and stuff like that. So that was a whole campaign to get
Mhm.
as many people from different uh, from the menu, right? Give them a list of things on the menu so that it's not just going after exactly one demographic of collectors, but rather more, and spread ourselves out more. So the
Yeah.
more options that we have, the likely that we get going to be more successful in terms of getting the orders. And that's what happened. And along the
Yeah.
way, we just again listened to the to the collector, and they said, "Oh, it's no point without a figure." Then we're like, okay, we don't want to really mess into this, because at a point of time I just wanted to come up with the car to sort of
Mhm.
challenge myself in terms of, if this was going to be this price from the other company, and it was a concern of the cost of the price, what can we do, right? Would we also come up with the same price, right? Because I wouldn't know until I get the prototype done, I get the costing, get the tooling costing done, get the production costing done. So in the end of the day, we were able to, okay, do it at this price, right? So
Mm.
250 was the calculated retail price, but as always, Ramen Toy offers the early bird price, which is the best possible price that we can offer from a B2C perspective. So we did that campaign for about a month. We got like 1,500 plus orders, and that was enough, right? That was enough to bring us across the 1,000 threshold, gearing towards 2,000. Currently, it's at 1,673. Not quite 2,000 yet, but I believe that once we have the second test shot that's going to be out in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be showing off again on video. You can see it for yourself. We actually did the first test shot at PowerCon. That was really a
Mm.
rough one. And then this second test shot should really show you the whole thing. And then I'm going to send it off to a couple of channels to review it. And then hopefully, once the reviewers give their comments, we should be able to get a few more orders. And then hopefully we can get to the 2,000 mark, because at 2,000 mark will actually put us in a position to deliver the next step of our so-called promise, that we will put a figure out for crowdfunding. That's it.
Amazing. Amazing.
But I love the
It's
fact that your version of the racer as well, if you will, also comes in black, and you can get it in orange. See if you want to go for the General Lee rather than
Yeah.
you got a bit of Dukes of Hazzard in your life, you can go for the orange version, which I think is really cool as well, and hits that nostalgia 80s factor big time for me. Was the orange one?
I
Yeah.
actually want
So
to go on, Ace. Sorry.
yeah. So the orange variant is a part of that menu, right? Instead of just giving you one option, now we are giving you two options, right? So you have another option if you are not totally interested at all with the whole project, but you're interested in a generally car, then you have the basis of which you can work on to get something like that done for your collection.
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends I know has ordered two. He's ordered one in black and one in orange. So when I was
Thank you.
speaking to him, and I was like, the black ones, it's coming to me. I've got it. I've got this in. I've got this in. And he's like, yeah, I've got the black and the orange. I was like, oh, had to one up. Had to go one up. But I think that's such an interesting business model as well, because one of the big things with the community, the toy collecting community, and the crowd-funded project is that it's kind of offered as a this is the thing, and if we get this many people, we'll offer extra thing here and there. The idea of a menu where you can kind of come onto the website and actually go, well, I want this piece, I want this piece, and I want this piece, and it adds up the price is incredible. It's such a good business plan, and I think it will do extremely well, because one of the, as I said, one of the biggest comments that comes back is, well, I really want this, but I'm not worried about this and this. And then what you do is you see people trying to sell those pieces to justify the price and stuff like that. So to actually be able to go on and purchase pieces individually is fantastic. It's a really good idea. But the detail in the car as well is phenomenal. It really is. Like, it's not a cheap version. It's, you know, of what was obviously put out there originally. It's, in my opinion, it's a more superior version of what we originally had on the plate, because of all the things that it can do. So it is. I'm really excited to get it in hand. I really am.
Thank you.
And I hope you thought about maybe doing a red and green version for the horror fans. You know, the Freddy car at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street.
We'll look at that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm scrolling here. I mean, obviously, you've covered quite a few. So there's like Brave Star figures. You've covered the I can't remember the name. Was it the sheriff, or you had a name for him?
Yep.
The Marshal. There we go. Yeah. So that was obviously a big cartoon growing up as well. You know, fantastic cartoon. So to see him out there, and Mask as well. You've covered that with your version of like some of the Mask cars. What's next, Ace? Is there anything? Is there a pipeline of ideas? Have you got kind of things floating around, or are they all a bit hush hush?
Well, you know, we wanted to go all the way just third party, but as we can see that, you know, along the way we do meet with some resistance, such as the C&D that is being served to us, right? So we got a cease and desist for the Maverick character. That thing is the first cease and desist that we got. And then for some reason they decided that Paramount decided that even our generic stands that we thought were generic enough, the stands for the sewer and the stands for the street alley, those two little stands that we actually propped up TMNT figures against, to sort of tell you guys that you can display your TMNT figures against these backdrops. So basically, we're just trying to sell backdrops, right?
Yeah.
So we got a cease and desist for that for some reason. And then followed by the Machina, Red Gullwing. We got cease and desist from Hasbro. And then now the latest cease and desist is from Mattel, where we showed off our, you know, He-Man and Skeletor sculpts at PowerCon, which, by the way, we did not sell, right? We just showed it off as an art form, right? We were at a convention that was pioneered by Motu, and we were just, you know, thinking that it would be fitting for us to show something in that regards at a show for the fans. And then we got a C&D shortly after, and that C&D even tell us that Mattel would definitely not grant us any license. We've not even asked for the license yet, because we are working with an agent that was trying to get us into the door with Mattel. And then the latest C&D that we got is again from Mattel, and they are going after our most powerful stand in the universe and the Master of the Verse hits, which is kind of strange because in that C&D, the lawyer mentioned that he has repeatedly told us that we have infringed on the copyrights, and yet we're going ahead to do this kind of stuff. But no, the stands and the hits were done before PowerCon. So I'm not sure how he got his facts, you know, all mixed up. At the same time, you know, the stands were just meant to show you that you can display your Motu figures against, and the whole idea of showing that the card back from Mattel was to show you that you can actually insert the card back into the stand as a form of play. Of course, obviously, we used the image of the card, which had the Masters of the Universe logo for all to see. And I guess to a commoner who doesn't know what's happening, they may have thought, or rather the solicitor may have thought that we were actually selling Masters of the Universe logoed product, which is not the case, right?
Yeah.
So it's just strange, but obviously, so that is the explanation that if we were to carry on this way of doing things, then we'll be met with all these obstructions. So obviously, you know, we are going to evolve our business model in a sense that we are now looking to do our own IP. So as you are asking me, you know, what's ahead, you know, we are actually working hard now to develop our own IP, And then I think when we're ready to do it, well, we are ready to do it. We're just on our way developing it. And the first IP that we're doing is the Titanium Titans. Okay, so the Titanium Titans was originally a third-party name that we had for the Silverhawks, because before getting the Silverhawks license with Super 7, which didn't actually last very long, right? That something happened over there, and we were not able to actually get the license for Silverhawks through Super 7. So that actually had a streaking halt to our development on that particular aspect. And then we thought that, okay, if we're not going to be doing it in Silverhawks, and then there's so much demand from the fans for us to continue the line and make the other Silverhawks characters, we thought to ourselves, okay, we're gonna do it, but we're gonna rename it as Titanium Titans, the third-party name for Silverhawks. But along the way, when we attended PowerCon and we saw many indie companies coming up with their own stuff, then we thought to ourselves, okay, we have something here. We can actually make our own stuff using the Titanium Titans concept, and we're going to be showing you exactly what we'll be doing. Come, I think, February. We're currently working on the concepts. There is going to be a comic involved, and then that will be the next step of Ramen Toy going forward to introduce our own IP. Now, having said that, okay, we are also actively pursuing licenses. So another crowd fund that failed was the Jurassic Park gates. And again, I was already on the case with doing the 3D model for the Jurassic Park gates, but we were not going to straight away do it like the Ramen Racer. We actually went to get Universal to get us a license, well, through an agent, to get the Jurassic Park license for this particular gate. So as we speak on this recording now, the proposal is being considered by Universal. Right, there's a hefty licensing fee involved, but again, we were willing to investigate and go that route so that we can get ourselves legit, so to speak. So getting ourselves licensed is one part of the progress, but of course we still want to do the third party stuff for as long as we are not able to get the license to make the stuff that we want to make, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
definitely. Admittedly, as a collector that's been in the game a long time, I actually prefer when companies like yourselves come out with something unique and original, because you see all the Jurassic Park stuff, you see all the stuff from Hasbro, and that's what we're kind of moving away from bit by bit as collectors. Because I've been in the game a long time, I've collected everything there is to collect, and kind of when you see something new and unique that's nostalgic of the past but is something new, that draws me in more. So like I think like the what are they called? The Action Force line that came out about a couple of years ago. That has been absolutely killing it with all their third party stuff. In fact, it's probably out. It's better than the GI Joe product now. So I mean, I like it when I don't want to say smaller companies, but independent companies like yourselves bring out something new and original that we've not seen before. But he's like you say, he's nostalgic of like the Silverhawks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you produce there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very exciting. And the Jurassic Park gates, if the license available and you can pick that up again, I think that'll be another very successful one, because again, it was something that a lot of collectors and children of the of the 80s 90s kind of era, we all wanted a big Jurassic Park gate. Let's be honest. Everybody that grew up watching that film wanted the gate, so it's that's really interesting. That is really exciting. It's a shame about the C&Ds in regards to the stands though, because again, as a collector, one of the biggest gaps in the market, I think, is the way to display figures. And the big companies that kind of just push the toys out over and over again don't think too much about how to display them. And it's again in the Facebook groups, on Instagram, Reddit, all that kind of stuff. One of the biggest questions that always comes up is, where can I get a stand? Where can how can I display this thing? And especially when somebody's spending, anywhere between $20 to $500 on a figure, depending what it is that they're buying, to have something to display it with sometimes can encourage that sale as well. So it seems really kind of silly to kind of put a stop on that, especially when there's no real copyright infringement. So hopefully we'll work past that at some point. We will work past that at some point. So tell people then who are watching, how can they find you, Ace? What's the best way to find products? What's the best way to kind of get involved, get behind things?
Yeah, we are actively on Facebook at facebook.com/Ramen Toy. Obviously, not everybody's on Facebook, so we also have our Instagram account, which is IG_Ramen Toy. And then obviously we're also on YouTube with our channel that's growing about 2,000 subscribers now, and our website www.ramentoy.com is where you can actually go and make the purchases.
Fantastic. I'll make sure to put all of those links in the video when this one goes out as well, so that people can check those out. And just before we say goodbye, Ace, tell us about the name Ramen Toy. Where did the name come from? It's always interesting to see where people kind of they came about their name.
Yeah, so originally, I was in Japan at Wonder Festival, and I'm a big Macross fan, and I remember buying the G kits from this particular company or brand or designer, and he calls himself Tanmen, Tanmen. So I asked my Japanese friend to ask him, what is Tanmen? And the reply that I got was, "Oh, it's just soup noodles," because he loves soup noodles. All right, like tan is soup and men is noodles, right? So, okay, I thought that resonated in my mind, and I really myself love ramen. That's for sure. In Japan, I always go for the ramen, the authentic ramen. So I thought, okay, let's just call ourselves Ramen Toy. But along the way, doing what we're doing, I thought that the name ramen actually is it could be an acronym for retro artistic modern 80s nostalgia, and that's what we are here today. Yeah.
Amazing. See, this is why I like to ask that question, because I never would have picked that up. So that is really cool. Ace, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Obviously, we wish you all the best in the future. I hope that everything does go well. I cannot wait to see that rider. I cannot wait to have it in hand. It looks phenomenal. Really do encourage anybody that's kind of on the fence or has heard about you to go and check out the website and just see the array of products. But yeah, thanks very much. Ash, do you want anything you want to say?
No, just once again, thank you very much for coming along, Ace. That's very awesome of you to come along, and we can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thank you, Jacob and Ash. Thank you so much.